Hello and welcome to the Feminine Archetype Summit, where we are rediscovering those different aspects of ourselves within ourselves in order to get to know ourselves better and integrate all of those aspects into our lives so that we can fully show up as who we are. And today I'm going to talk with Flora Ware about the archetypes in business. So let me tell you a little bit about her first. Flora Ware is a conscious dreamer, moon cycle priestess, and feminine leadership coach. She is the creatrix of Goddess Dream School, an online business training and sister mind that uses circle meditation and divine feminine archetypes to support spiritual entrepreneurs with mindset, marketing, and magic. Flora is a best-selling co-author, workshop facilitator, and speaker. She lives in the beautiful Okanagan in BC, Canada, with her wife and son. Welcome, Flora. It's such a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. It's nice to be in the same space with you again, Krystal. Thank you for having me.
It was beautiful when we met at the Awakened Women Convergence, and there was just a meeting of sisters. Like there was this, something when people are on the same vibration, it's like, we come together, and it's been such a pleasure to spend time with you there and now again.
Yes. Yeah. Immediate resonance.
That's right. Yes, exactly. So Flora, I'd love to hear just a little bit about your story, because from your bio, you are one of the women who have managed to combine two worlds, the business world and this magical, mystical, feminine goddess world. I'd just love to hear a little bit of how you got to that place.
So in some ways, it's been much to my own surprise that I've been able to do this. So I attended my first full moon women's circle 25 years ago with my mom, and I was a young 15-year-old. And so I've been on the path of the goddess for quite some time, and in that world of moon circles and women's circles and a deep devoted spirituality to Mother Earth and the moon and the goddess and all those lovely things, right? But in my 20s, I definitely had some different goals and ambitions, and being a performer, I found myself, I was studying theater and also music. I'm a singer, actor, dancer, what they call a triple threat. And then when I found myself in different situations with festivals or the full moon parties that we have here in BC, I often found myself dressed up in the role of priestess, for the opening ceremony. And looking back now, I really see that in that way, that I was dressing up. It was a costume. It was a bit of a persona. I certainly wasn't embodying the priestess. I wasn't living in an authenticity with what that truly means. Right. And so only in the last 5 years, I would say that I can now confidently say that my spirituality has become much more devoted, and they're much more aligned. And I found I was attending circles, leading circles. I didn't know that spiritual life coaching was even a thing. And when I discovered really about the coaching industry, and that what I had been doing for free was actually something that I could, that I could have as a career, it was that organic evolution and that aha moment. Like, this is my soul's path. And so my wife and I actually are in business together. She's the health side, nutrition side, fitness, like more physical health, and I'm the spiritual health. And I combined my 10 plus years of marketing experience with what I do, because what I so often find is that I connect with these women who have big, beautiful dreams, and they get overwhelmed when they think about marketing or they think about all the technology involved. And so there's some business coaching, there's some life coaching, but really when it comes down to it, it's about personal leadership. And that's where I've now landed, where I realize that I'm a feminine leadership coach, because I create and hold sacred space for women to experience a transformation for themselves and to step into their leadership and really embrace their wisdom and step into their power. So that's a bit of what I do in my story.
Yeah. Archetypes in business. We so often are used to seeing, personality profiling to know where to slot somebody in business. Are they a supporter? Are they analytical? Are they big picture? Are they a leader? Are they a salesperson? And so we're quite familiar with understanding and identifying ourselves through questionnaires in that way. How is the work that you do and what you've developed as archetypes in business, how does that differ?
That's a great question. And I've done all of those personality quizzes as well, right? And maybe you have, or anyone listening. And I don't know about you, but I find that you see the common threads, right? So, so I'm, my primary language in that fascinator test is passion. I'm like, yeah, okay, I know that. And then in something else, I'm the, the ENFJ or something, the Enneagram. And it's like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. I'm the mentor or something. And so then when it differs, the main difference in working with divine feminine archetypes is that you have a rich, ancient history to really dive into, because we have so many beautiful portals of goddesses to explore these archetypes through, where these more modern inventions of personality types just doesn't have that same richness. So if I want to explore my creatrix archetype, where I'm needing that creatrix energy because I'm in creation mode, well, what goddess am I going to call upon for that? I could turn to Aphrodite, or I could turn to goddess Rhiannon, or I could call in goddess Ishtar. And so there's you just don't have the same level of mythology, of a real. I think, especially as women, we have a deep resonance, like we were speaking about, even you and I. We have that immediate resonance with different goddesses and archetypes and their mythologies, the cultures that they come from. So I think that's the biggest difference.
Yes, that richness, the mythology, and that's really what the archetypes are. They're not just a character, but they're the depth of history and mythology that comes with it.
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
Certainly.
So I'd love you to share with us and walk us through those 7 archetypes in business that you have created, so that as we're talking, women might be able to identify, okay, that's me, that's me, that's me.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I just, this whole summit is about archetypes. So we really do need to understand that they transcend the individual, that they exist in our collective unconscious. And so, and many different systems have a different number of them. The Jungian system has 12. Other systems have 8. The 13 Moon Mystery School, there's 13. So I've studied, explored. I studied with Jean Shinoda Bolin, who's wrote a very groundbreaking book called Goddesses in Every Woman, and taking in everything. I just had this awakening. I had this epiphany where I thought, but really there's only 7, right? That's kind of what I thought. I was like, but there seems to be, if we really get down to the essence, that's what it felt. It was like, I filtered it, I filtered some of them down, and I really felt like I came down to this system of sevens, and seven has been a magical number that has followed me in a lot of my life. So, and then, pretty soon on the heels of that realization, I thought, right. And these 7 archetypes correlate to our 7 chakras. So as women, our first expression is as the maiden. And so that's our root chakra. The maiden is in our root. It's our foundation. And then in our sacral chakra, our sex chakra, is, of course, the mother. This is where we birth new life. And going up to the solar plexus chakra, where we have willpower and choice, that's the realm of the wild woman archetype. When we get up to the heart, of course, it's the healer, compassion, forgiveness, that healing energy of the heart, the healer archetype. In our throat chakra is the creatrix. It's the manifestation center. We speak our ideas into being. In our third eye, the crone, the wise woman who has the wisdom, intuition, foresight. And then at the crown, our connection to source, to divine, and where we alchemize the harmony of all, that is the priestess. So those are the 7 what I say primary divine feminine archetypes, and how I see they connect to each of the energies of the chakras.
Great. So how do we then, and are you saying that each of them lives within every woman, or are they, I feel like we all have dominant ones. How do we identify who we are, and how do we then utilize that in our business to say, right, this is my strength, so therefore I need to orchestrate and create my business in this way?
Yeah. So absolutely, they are all within us. And yes, we also tend to express usually 2, the strongest. And so our own unique pairings of those archetypal energies and gifts can, they just can be that really interesting, unique flavor. That's what makes us who we are. In business, I see again at a more overview level, we have 4 feminine business archetypes of the nurturer, the creative, the leader, and the expert. And I will give credit to Joy Balma, who is the author of Rock Your Feminine Type to Rock Your Business. She really talks about business archetypes in this way. So the mother and the healer clearly are the nurturer business types, right? And the wild woman is the leader. And the wise woman is that expert business type. So if you excel in the knowledge area of your business and people come to you for what you know, my guess would be that you're an expert and that you are embodying the crone wise woman energy. If you are, if you are a healer, you're probably a healer, and there's strengths and shadows for each archetype. So when I work with my clients, one-on-one or in my Goddess Dream School group program, we're exploring these archetypes in order to understand our strengths and to stand in our power, but also very importantly to understand the shadow sides of those. Like the nurturer tends to overgive, and to the point of depletion. That's a classic mother trait as well, as the nurturer, and undervaluing services, or giving discounts all the time, or feeling awkward and not following up with clients when their invoice is overdue. Money issues around that can be a shadow archetype. So and so when we're I'll give myself as an example. So I'm strong creatrix. That's probably why I gave that example earlier. I'm strong creatrix, creative business type. I'm a creative leader. So I understand that about myself. Creatrix, wild woman. And I never would have thought that my strengths would be in my individuality, or in my my self-expression and my drive for freedom. Those don't sound like business strengths, right? Those so I didn't understand that. And so with doing this work, I realized the more that I share what makes me unique, what being completely honest with who I am, I very boldly will introduce myself as a queer feminist witch. This is who I am. And it's amazing that I'm attracting the right people to me all the time. And I haven't had any experience with haters online. It's been almost miraculous. Really with how out there I am. But, and I suppose, and really that's with me standing in my strengths, my gift of being creative and creative marketing ideas. We can lean into that. I don't know, that's just one example. Oh, and therefore, and then I also know that my shadows are that I tend to undervalue myself, that I will, that I will give discounts when really I should be knowing my worth. So I'm still working through that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So many of us are. Yeah.
Right. I mean, just in me sharing that, I'd be curious, like, which one do you feel like that glimmers for you, that you feel, yeah, that's me?
I'm in a relationship where I feel like the wild woman wants to come out. She wants like that solar plexus power. That's my current journey of moving into that more fully. And I feel collectively that is something that is waking up within women, to know that we are, when to say no, when to stand up for ourselves, and in a way that is not attacking something, but in a way that is just speaking the truth that comes through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm so glad you brought this forward, Krystal, because I'm seeing that over and over, where the shadow archetype of the wild woman, and what that means, especially for women, spiritual women in business, is that is the leader. And so if we cannot be, make friends with, we need to befriend our shadow. But if we don't feel comfortable with leadership and being courageous, then our success will only go so far, right? Because there's visibility, fears come up around that, being too afraid to speak up, to stand out, to be that leader in your own life and in your business. And those are the really positive aspects of the wild woman. So many women, it's a very repressed archetype in women for millennia, right? Yeah. So this is definitely, I'm with you, where we are seeing the wild woman awakening, and more women stepping into their leadership. The wild woman is ready to roar. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember now what I was going to say, when you put those qualities on you, I'm this, and this, it's like, wow, there's such a deep resonance, because it's so integrated, and there's such a knowing about it. No wonder you don't get hate mail, because you are living in that certainty. And these people saying, oh, okay, this is her, but I'm not going to get involved because she is so authentically clear in her message. And so it's only, I feel, when we're not quite embodying it 100%, that then that doubt resonates into the ether, into the universe, into where, and then that's what's being fed back to us. So, and this is why I feel like your work is so important, to assisting women to identifying their archetypes, or, archetypes in general. But if we're talking here in business, particularly in business, of how do you show up in your work, and not apologizing, as you're saying, for the witch, for the queer, for all of that, but saying, yes, this is who I am. And also being aware of the shadow. So maybe we can talk a little bit more about the shadow. We when we're in the public, we love to say the strengths, and they're so important to claim and to own. But it's equally important to not put the shadow under the carpet, and bring that shadow to the surface, so that it doesn't control us, but we can control it. We can work with it. So I'd love you to maybe briefly talk in terms of those 7 archetypes through the shadow aspect of each.
Sure. Yeah, it is very important to do the shadow work along with the light work, right? Okay, so with the nurturer types, the mother and the healer, like I spoke about the shadow definitely being around money blocks, valuing, and boundaries for your own for your own self-care, not over giving to the point of feeling resentful, burnt out, all of that. The creative types, the creatrix and the maiden, I see being a very creative type, very playful. The shadows there are often in follow through. They have no lack of creative ideas, but they don't always see them through. The scattered dreamer is the shadow there. So there can be frustration because there's definitely you know, and I speak to women like this, they have so many ideas and they have a vision for what they want, and yet they for whatever reason they don't quite have the dedication, the devotion to see something through. So that's a shadow archetype with being a very creative type.
And would they then call, sorry to interrupt, would they then call
no.
another archetype from another chakra to assist that shadow to dissolve that?
Absolutely. The creatrix does well with the wise woman, the discipline of the expert, you know, and not losing sight of your vision. Well, you know, because we have these great ideas and we want to see something through, but when we stop, it must be because we've lost sight of, you know, the vision, or we're just averse to some hard work. And we just want to play, you know, the maiden is playful and fun. And then when the passion wears off, you need perseverance. And so that can be a time. So the expert, you said for yourself, you feel the third eye and the crone. Well, this is the woman who is very analytical, intellectual, smart as heck. And like I said, people come to her and for her business because of what she knows. And so this kind of woman, her shadow side is around perfectionism, as you might expect, that and not trying new things out of fear that she won't be good at them. She wants to be good at things right away. So she's maybe lost the playfulness, the willingness to create and be messy, that kind of thing. There can be some rigidness with that business archetype because she's found her way of doing things. That's the right way to do things, and that's just the way it is done. And so that can be the shadow of the archetype. And the priestess, I feel, is an amalgamation. Because the priestess is a leader, is creative, is a nurturer, maybe more so on the tough love side of things, and is also clearly an expert. So I feel like when we have really harmonized the strengths, when we've befriended and embraced our shadow, and we're really at that's our highest potential. That's our higher self. So we're in that's when we're living and working as the priestess. Yeah.
What about the shadow of the throat?
That's the creatrix.
Oh, that's the creatrix.
And where I was, I see the maiden and the creatrix being creative business types. So it's that follow through.
Okay, great.
It's in being loving to be creative and not seeing something through, working on commitment, committing to your vision, to your dream, and continuing to persevere when the going gets tough, as that expression is, right?
Yes. Great. And last thing that we wanted to talk about, how can we change, or can we change our dominant archetype that we have? Or would we want to change it?
Yeah, actually, people ask me that. Can your archetypes change? Do we want to change them? Can we change them? I think my answer is yes. And we can do it consciously, or also life changes us. I became a mother 4 years ago. Whew, I talk about life changer, right? I wasn't much of a mother archetype before. I was, never one of those women that like sees a baby. Can I hold the baby? I want a baby. That wasn't me. But I always knew deep inside that I wanted to be a mother. Life events change us, change our dominant archetype. That's an obvious one. The early death of a parent is a big one that I also see, or the absence of a parent. It's like it shortens our time in the maiden, shortens our childhood. We then we have to start adulting too soon. Well, not too soon, but sooner than some of us. So that can change our archetype. So life events, big life events, will change our how we're expressing. And if we want to consciously change our archetype and in business, like I've been working more with the wild woman, with my leadership. It's like anything. If you've done mindset work, mindset practice, you choose it every day. It's really as simple as that. Every day you wake up, you say, I choose these thoughts for my confidence. I believe in myself. I believe that my success is inevitable. And I'm going to, you work on those beliefs and those thoughts, and then that informs our actions. And it's how we are acting, how we are showing up in the world, that is how we're expressing our archetypes. So yes, we can.
Great.
Change.
Thank you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and as you were talking, I was feeling like it's so important to know the dominant one, but also have that ability to tap into all the other ones.
Yeah.
So that we can be, that's then becoming that holistic thing where we're not being in reaction to an archetype, but where we, as you said, we can choose that which serves us best in each moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's my music background here, but a lot of people talk about different frequencies at the chakras. And so I see us when we're working together, it's like a beautiful chord. When I use the word harmonizing on purpose, right? That we are harmonizing together, making a beautiful chord of music, right? A resonance. Mm-hmm.
I like that. Yes. So Flora, we are already at the end of our half an hour. I'd love you to take just a minute to share the free offer that you have, and how people can work more with you and these amazing archetypes that you've developed.
Yeah, thank you so much, Krystal. So I have a free 5-day email program, mini program. It's called Awaken the Goddess Within, where we explore 5 of those 7 archetypes. And so you get an email for 5 days where there's either a guided meditation, or there's a wisdom question for you to journal on, or a deepening practice for you to do. And in this way, I believe that when we awaken the goddess within, we live with more passion, power, and purpose. And I would bet that everyone listening to these summit interviews wants more passion, power, and purpose in their life. So, so you can sign up for that and enjoy.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that. And thank you everybody for listening. And I'm so curious to hear what your dominant archetypes may be and how they're playing themselves out in your life. So please join us on the Facebook page and just let us know underneath just I'm this, and this, and I resonate with this, or the shadow here is preventing me from stepping into my priestess aspect. So I'd love to have a conversation about this and really celebrate our uniqueness. Like Flora, you were saying, can you say it again, those 3 words, and then maybe people can on the website, on the Facebook group, comment if they've discovered theirs. I'm a this, and this.
Oh, with the business archetypes?
Yes.
Yeah, so there's 4: the creative, the nurturer, the leader or the expert.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. And you were saying I'm a queer mystic something. Like
I'm a queer feminist witch. Yes.
A queer feminist witch. Yeah. I love that. And that one, we can claim that there is so much power in it. And the flip side of that, of course, is then also that we're nothing else. So we don't want to define and limit ourselves with that, but we want to know that as a starting point, perhaps. And knowing that we can be everything else as well. But these are our sort of core qualities. So thank you so much, Flora, and thank you everybody for listening, and we'll see you very soon. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.